Hi, we're very excited to be here today with Reginald Andre. He's an alumni, of course, of Broward College, not with one degree, but two from Broward College. He has two AS degrees, as well as CEO and president of his firm, ARK. And if you could see behind him, he's most recently been awarded in the South Florida Business Journal for not only 40 under 40, but one of the 250 power leaders in the whole region, as well as numerous other tech awards for his company. So without further ado, Reginald, I'd love to get to hear about ARC Solvers and what you do every day.
Hi, Jill. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be able to present to the organization. I love Broward College. I'll do anything for you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
So tell us about your company. How long ago did you start it, and what do you do every day? I know it's very successful.
Yeah, so we provide cybersecurity and IT services to businesses with 10 or more computers. And I always like to say is we're not an insurance company, but we act like an insurance company where we help mitigate the risk, because I'm sure, as you know, cybersecurity is just like a big deal now. You have the government getting hacked, Fortune 500 companies getting hacked, small businesses getting hacked, and we really are trying to help mitigate that risk, so that way businesses don't end up on the news. There's plenty of statistics that show that after a business is attacked, the revenues go down, the customers are affected, employees' information is exposed. So we help mitigate that risk in providing a cybersecurity formula to help prevent that.
Okay, so that's your number one. I know you do other things as well, but that's right now leading with the pandemic and all that. I'm sure you're busier than ever. And again, thank you for your time. So
Yes.
tell us where you went to high school and how did we get so lucky to have you land at Broward College?
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to high school at Turner Tech, which is in North Miami. And from Turner Tech, I was, to be honest, I was a little confused. I wasn't, I wanted to teach. I wanted to be able to teach computers. But at the time, my GPA was at probably like a 2.8, 2.6 or something like that. And when I tried to apply to the bigger universities, they basically said, thanks, but no thanks. So, and my mom, she's, first generation Haitian American. And she says, look, I don't care if the other schools didn't take you, but if you're living under my roof, you're going to school somewhere.
Mm.
And that's when I said, okay, well, since I can't get into this particular program, I'm also, interested in English. I love the English language. And I decided that I was going to become a teacher. So I went to Broward College, and and as I was going towards the motions and doing the internships and things like that before I transferred to FAU, one of the things that they had us do was intern at the local high schools. And as I did the internship, I'm so happy for those internships, because then I realized, like, the studies and everything like that, the theory is great when it comes to education, but the actual physical teaching wasn't a passion that I saw. It wasn't something. So before I continued the additional 2 years, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do computer repair at the time. And that's when I started going to Central Campus. I met Professor Brian Ferris, and the rest is history. From there, I started working for, just little side jobs for my friends and family whenever their computers were not working. And then from there, I saw my passion, and I said, you know what, I'm going to continue going. And I just furthered my education in the computer and networking field.
I see. And Brian Ferris was one of your professors at Broward?
Yeah, he's still there. He's at the Central Campus. Yes.
Okay. Did you get involved in any of the student life and things like that and meet some other students?
No, unfortunately, I didn't. I did network with a lot of because a lot of the students in my class were older. So they kind of took me under their wing, because, going from an English major and knowing a little about computers to these guys that were basically in their careers already, but now they just wanted kind of like a degree and certification to back their resume. So although no, I didn't do any student life, but I did. We have like a WhatsApp where we're still in touch about like
Oh,
six.
I know you give a lot back to Broward College, so I was asking you about that for sure. So do you have a favorite quote that you think about, and what would that be?
Yeah, so I'm a big Rocky fan, and in Rocky, there's a quote that says, it's not how hard you get hit, it's how you get back up. And I would say in my life, that is something that has been really, really big for me, because there has been many times, I grew up in the city of Miami Gardens, which at the time was one of the most dangerous cities in the United States. I grew up without a father in my household. My mom worked 2, 3 jobs to get us by. There was different life circumstances that had me down. There could be many statistics out there that says that I shouldn't be where I am because of the school I went to, the elementary school, middle school, and things like that. But that quote really stuck to me, because it says, look, don't let your circumstance define your future. And that's exactly how I live my life every day, where even if there are different opportunities I can't get because of maybe, my education didn't go as high or whatever the case is, but nevertheless, I keep on fighting, keep on fighting, keep on fighting. And if I have to work 10 times harder to get where I need to be, then that's what I'll do. I'll wake up extra early. I work on the weekends. Until maybe the last 3 or 4 years, I was working literally 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. So it
Wow.
was,
And I know
yeah.
you have a beautiful family, so they must have missed you, right? That's
Yeah, absolutely.
kind of
Absolutely.
crazy. So then name something that you're super excited about. You're just on a big roll this year with all your awards. What's something you're super excited about?
Well, I'm super excited about 2 things. So our company, ARK Solvers, as you mentioned, is one of the fastest growing IT companies in South Florida for 3 years in a row now. And I'm super excited because the unfortunate cybersecurity landscape and how everybody's getting hacked basically, but it's also now being kind of more in our customers' eyesight. Because before they would just kind of brush off, oh, IT budget, you're last in line. Let's work on amenities and making sure things are pristine when customers walk in. But now they're taking, they're giving IT an actual budget to go by. So I'm very excited by that. And then in turn, that's going to be great for Broward College and the classes that you guys offer, because the demand for IT is going to be much more. So I'm very super excited about that.
That is great. That's awesome. So do you have any heroes that you've kind of followed or that have been a role model for you in our community or in general?
Well, there's a few people. I don't want to say they're my heroes, but I do listen to them on podcasts. There's they're local too. There's a guy named Patrick Ben David, Grant Cardone, Gary V. So those are some people that I do listen to and kind of get inspired by.
Yeah, it's great. It's important to have those to fall back on and listen to those motivating podcasts too. I do as well.
Yes.
So, what do you foresee for the future for IT? Do you see it growing tremendously, and what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the work from home, you have companies like Google and Microsoft that are saying, we don't expect, 40, 50% of our workforce to come back. So I definitely see that there's going to be a lot more need to cybersecurity, because before people were protecting their buildings. Now we have to protect people's homes, because it's even more vulnerable, because now you have 30 people working from home and we have to make sure those 30 locations are secure, rather than just a building, making sure one building is secure. So I definitely do see, as far as cybersecurity, networking, a lot of that is going to just explode because of the need for people to be able to work from home and communications and et cetera.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, something else that you're involved with outside of work is a project, the Mavuno Project. And
Mhm.
I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but why don't you tell us all about that? I know it's something that's really near and dear to your heart.
Yes. So my wife, she's the CEO of the foundation. It's called the Mavuno Project. It's Swahili for harvest, and in essence, it brings awareness to human trafficking. We know with the Super Bowl in 2020 when it was in Miami, human trafficking a lot of times is a buzzword, because there's Human Trafficking Month, and then there could be things on the news. You have the Epstein and things like that, but a lot of times it happens on the news, or you hear for it for a moment, and that's it. And what the Mavuno Project does is it brings that awareness throughout the year. and we go to local elementary, middle, high schools, and we talk to the students. We talk to them about stranger danger. We go internationally. We've last year we went to Haiti, the year before El Salvador, a couple before that Honduras, and it's so interesting because when you go to these third world countries, they're just now introduced to Facebook. Their parents never had Facebook, never had Instagram or any of those social media. So when they get their phone and these 12, 13-year-olds are looking at their phone and someone from a European country or Western country saying how pretty they are, they've never heard that. And now their parents don't know any better. And that's how, unfortunately, the human trafficking starts. And then, so what we do is we actually go, we educate, we bring awareness, both locally and internationally.
Well, that's really something really special, and I'm sure you unknowingly and knowingly probably saved a lot of lives and a lot of people from, some of the, because I know South Florida is one of the worst hit areas with human trafficking for sure.
Yeah, number
So,
3.
so you also have at ARK Solvers, I know you hired somebody that is now that was a Broward College graduate as well, that is a big role in the company. Is that
Yeah,
true?
absolutely. Yeah, and one of the cool things I love with keeping in contact with Professor Brian Ferris is that he sends me the best of his best. And so when I'm hiring, I shoot him a email and say, hey Brian, this is what I'm looking for. Please post this, or please talk to any students you think that may be interested. And so one of my best, I would say, is Yodasi Centelio, who started with me as a very basic technician. But she had the passion, she had the drive, and 7 years later, she was promoted to the chief operating position in our company. So she literally runs the company. Unfortunately, I got COVID a few weeks ago, and I was out for 3 weeks, and she ran the company, everything from the scheduling to payroll. We have a staff of 12 people, and it was a great find. So thank you.
Oh,
That's one
I'm
of your
glad to hear
products there.
that. And I'm glad to hear you've obviously made a full recovery. You seem like you're in good health, so that's good to know. So,
Yes.
is there any other advice that you want to share for some people that might be thinking about IT and, where is it going to get me? How about some advice for our students that may be watching this, or some of our alumni that may be thinking of getting into another career that's a little bit more modern in hiring? So what advice would you give?
Yeah, I definitely, and I want to even put this a little more broader, because I know a few years ago you guys had a campaign that was called like finish what you start or something like that. And I want to kind of just emphasize on that, because when I graduated in 2001 to go to Broward College right after, I then end up getting my degrees that you see back there in 2012, I believe. So in theory, I could have just went and become a doctor, but so it took me 12 years to get a 2-year degree. And unfortunately, as I'm sure that's common, where people start, they're gun-ho when they start, and then they phase off, life happens, etc. So I would just encourage, be it the IT or just whatever degree you're going to, just continue going, even if it's one class at a time. We have several of our people as staff members here where they're wanting to go back to school, and and I tell them, like, look, they have their situations, babies, blah blah blah, but I says, look, even if it's one class per semester, just keep on going. If I have to lower your hours, I will. Whatever we have to do to work out, if you need some days off, but just finish what you start. And especially in IT, it's one of those industries where what you learned 11 years ago is not what it is today. So if you took some classes 5-6 years ago, and now you're going to go back to IT, you basically, like, it's like a generation loss. It's like 10 years lost. And I'm sure
Starting
that's the
over.
same. Yes, and I'm sure that's the same for healthcare and other programs that you have. So if you just keep on going and just remain active, I think that's just going to be the best thing. And we have one of our staff members, and she's like 3 classes away. It took her 4 or 5 years, but hey, she's going to get there, because the degree doesn't say the start date and the end date. It just tells you the end date. And that's the
Right,
most important
right.
part.
Oh, that's wonderful advice. And wow, we just really thank you for coming to Broward College, graduating from Broward College, and continuing to support us along the way. I know you've been on our panels and We really appreciate everything, and we look forward to when we get to in-person classes
Yeah,
that you could come in and talk to some students. So we'll
I
definitely
would love
arrange
to.
that as well. Thank you so much, Reginald, and I hope that everything goes well for you as you deserve. So thank you again.
All right.